Educating investors.
The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray, feeling good, Lewis. We're going to take a look at one of the things that we don't like to always talk about, and that is when we take a loss. Folks, here is the chart of the April hogs. We were seeing that 3 drives to a top pattern happening, and it hit it spot on. And by golly, guess what? It hit it spot on the stop, too. We lost a point on that. Just about a full cent in the hogs, which is roughly $400. And it's now below that level, but that was a trade that because of the risk parameters on that, we needed to get out because we don't know whether it's going to go a lot higher or not on any of these things. So let's keep in mind that when we do these are only probabilities. They are never certain. Never, never, never. No, even when they're certain, they're never certain. So just keep that in mind. Someone's asked me a question about how I get started in the morning, or in the middle of the day or middle of the night of, what I'm looking for. And I just watched, I send out all the charts in the 24/7. These are the things that I'm looking at, boys and girls. That's it. I focused on a video and I focused on the chart of the crude oil saying at $62 a barrel. It had a major, ABCD 382 retracement, and the high was 62.04, and it's broken $700 since that level. So I don't know which ones are going to work. I really don't. All I try to do is to line them up so that I can see the ones that I think are going to work. One that was interesting to me, of course, last night, coming in here on, let's get this up here, was the natural gas. So let me just give you a perfect example of what I'm looking at here. This is the daily chart of natural gas, and as you can see, the low on Thursday was a spot on 78% retracement, exactly at 78%, 2.41. That's what it was. I said, well, that makes something that we ought to pay close attention to on Sunday and Monday. So that's what I started to do. And all I did was I came up and I started on Sunday night, and you'll be able to see here what happened. Let's just get it up here. And you'll see here what we were watching here. You can see the low down there at 241 and change. We rallied up on Friday, came back to a 61% retracement, and completed an ABCD, if you'll notice here, right here on Sunday night. And so what happened was, that was right on Friday night. And then on Sunday night, the market gapped down and said, okay, if it's going to come down, maybe it'll make a 135 pattern. And that is, in fact, what it did. Spot on, 135, bada bing, bada boom. Now it's almost made the objective up here. It's already up, $800 from that level. So it's the amount of money that I had to risk was very small compared to what, I was looking at. So anyway, what I did, I did the same thing in one other market that we're very bullish on, and that here is the bond market. Let's just get this one up here. You'll be able to see. Here's the bond. This is the same thing you'll see Friday night. Okay, then you see the move down on Friday. Then you see what happened on Sunday. And then today, early morning on Sunday, right when the market's opening, about 4 hours ago, 3.5 hours ago, we were sitting right there at the 382 retracement. Bada bing, bada boom, 54 now. They're on their way up to, looks like 50, well, quite a bit above 55 already. So we could get all the way to 56. And that's how I do that, folks. I mean, I'm going to be doing one of my live trading things here on, I believe it's going to be on March the 30th, and I'm going to be going all over these, how to set up the patterns and how to look at it. But the main focus of this 5-day session is to make the money. You're going to pay, $295 to get in to see this, and you should be able to make that money back. Plus, we're going to be doing a lot of teaching. I wanted to reiterate what's happening here with this natural gas because you'll be able to see it. We're almost there. We've already reached our first profit objective by far. We've got above the 256 easily, so we're going to be watching that one just have our stop working and see where it gets to on that. Regarding the Treasury bonds, folks, I probably got, I think I got 3 emails over the weekend about the Treasury bonds on whether I think the Treasury bonds are going to be making a major bottom. Folks, I don't really know if they're going to be doing that. I really don't know. And let me tell you, when I say I don't know, I really don't know. So let's just take a look at what we were watching here in the Treasury bonds here last week when the whole world was coming apart and Mr. Powell was out there talking about whatever he was doing here. You'll notice here, there's the 3 drive to a bottom pattern in the bonds down there at the 53.05. The signal came in at 53.12. We're now trading at 55.12. That's up 2 handles, and we're already above the 382 of that rally, folks. That's a positive sign. So that's some of the things that means that you probably got something moving in the right direction. So that's a major thing to pay attention to. Now, I just think this is going to be a bear market rally. And believe me, it should be a really monster because the whole world is turned around now. There's no longer talk of negative interest rates. Well, there's a few brave souls out there that do it, but most of them don't. So those are, the things that you have to comprehend when you're a technical trader versus when you're a fundamental trader. The fundamental trader, you have to think about all those things that they're talking about. And there are enough of those to really drive a person crazy. But as a technician, you only have to focus on one thing, like Curly and City Slickers, just one thing. Do one thing really right and focus on that bar of where they're buying. If they're going up, there's more buyers. If they're going down, there's more sellers, and that's what you have to realize what you're going to do, because you have to operate within that time frame, and how much do you have to risk to be in that time frame is what really counts. Now, everybody has a different style of trading. Some people, trade once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Basically, I try to view it as this is a merchant's business. I've got a general store here in Tucson, Arizona. Some days I've got eggs for sale. Some days I've got women's hats for sale. And it depends on which ones. And some days I need to buy bacon, so I don't only trade bacon anymore, but that's the type of thing that I look at. I'm trying to find something where I don't have to risk very much and see if I can make a profit at it. And I've done that, by looking at these different patterns that we've looked at, so very, very long. And that's a main thing to really, pay close attention to. I got some feedback from the newsletter was quite long this week, folks. It's one of the best newsletters that we've ever published here at TFNN. Trade What You See. If you haven't seen it, you really ought to get it. Drop me a note and I'll let you take a look at it. It's 30 pages, but boy, it's all about risk control and what the market's really doing. Now, this particular chart that I've just posted in here is one from our friends across the pond. And this is that reverse point wave, 5-wave reverse point T6 pattern, also known as a 5-point reverse wave. It's also the T6 pattern, 2-6 pattern in Gartley's book. And that has been completed now, 33,000 in the Dow. And we'll see what's going to happen today. 877-927-6648. We'll be right back.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the opening call risk-free today.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today.
Hey there, I'm Andy Arbertine with Tiger Precious Metals and Stones. Whether you're looking to buy and sell precious metals or trying to find the perfect diamond ring, I'm here to help. I have over 15 years of experience with diamonds and precious metals. You can call me directly at 727-329-8245, and I will personally answer any questions you have and help you find exactly what you're looking for. I will be your personal concierge in the metal and stone business. Give me a call today, 727-329-8245.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, another thing that I usually do, well, I do it all the time, is hold on just a second. I got a technical problem I has to correct. Otherwise, I got big problems in River City, and I don't want to have that happen. Here is the chart of Apple, the most widely held stock in the world, the most popular stock in the world. Everybody owns Apple. We had a high of 145. You'll notice here we have been at the 61% retracement now for 5 days in Apple. Remember, the NASDAQ had been coming down, and so we were expecting today, because of the fact that this market stopped at the 61% retracement for 3 days, unless it fell out of bed this morning, it had a pretty good probability of rallying. And you can see here we've rallied about 2.5 points already today. Now, if you'll notice this goes back over the last 10. Well, it goes over the past month. You can see the ABCD pattern that we had going into March 1st, and that led to the 1.27 expansion down. Then we had an ABCD up at the 382, and now that's what we've done here. This is not acting very bullish, folks. It really isn't, but that doesn't mean it can't go up, to at least the 129 level. It could easily do that, and that would take the NASDAQ, I imagine, quite a bit higher. So we'll see. The NASDAQ is the leader again today, but it has been the one that's been beaten up the most. On Sunday night, it was really giving you a chance to say that, wow, this thing's really got a chance to rally, because they were beating up the S&P really bad Sunday night, down about 15 handles. Dow down about 150 points, and the NASDAQ was unchanged. And boy, if you ever want to see a green light, folks, that's it. Somebody's out there in the middle of the night wanting to buy that stuff. And as you can see, it really took off. Longer term, however, we've got a big situation going on here, longer term, that tells us that this market in the NASDAQ is going to be the real key of whether a major top has been put in or not. Because if you look at this, hold on one second. I'll get this up here. By the way, folks, I am not sick. I feel terrific. It's just that the old Palo Verdes are out. Yeah, the Apple's at 123. Let's take a look here where we are with the. We got up to. We're heading back towards that 61% retracement. You've seen we've hit it 3 times. We hit it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then you see Friday what happened, and we're getting close to it again. We might get above it at 32.53, but that's a perfect head and shoulders pattern. The left shoulder is higher than the right shoulder. The right shoulder is setting at a Fibonacci retracement of 618. So that has got a very, very positive bias to us. We've already seen the other patterns on these things. I just did the Dow Jones one that came from across the pond. I don't want to reiterate those over and over again because you get tired of looking at them, but I think they're valid, but sometimes they fail, and that's where you've got to get out of the road, to see what's happened. They beat up the TLT so much, folks, that they probably don't have any. Let's get this up here. That's why we're probably going to get one heck of a rally in the TLT because they don't have any friends now. But you notice the weekly now. You'll see we've increased the volume here. In February and March, and that means that big sell-off was continuing. We're below the 61% retracement, but still close enough for government work that it might bring in some type of rally. And I think that's all we're going to get. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a 3-day rally, a 4-day rally. It's already had a 3-day rally. So I just do them one at a time. It's a big contract to trade, the bonds and the notes. So, you can get in there, and believe me, they don't go hunting for stops there. Your stops are there because that's where the orders are. Because if you ever looked at the programs, you can see the backed up number of contracts that are being sold, 300, 400, 500 contracts at each tick. That's different than the S&P, where you only maybe have 30 or 40 sitting there. With the Dow Jones, you might have 10. So those are a few of the things that you've got to remind yourself to do that, when you're doing it. One of the things I'll be focusing on in the daily show that we do is first thing is to make money for it, make sure you get your money back plus some, and then also talk about risk control and all the things that we do. And then we do some teaching in between that because we don't like to stare at the monitors and let people say, oh, what's going to happen next? Hell, nobody knows what's going to happen next. It's just a question of getting in there and trying it to see if you're going to be right. That's the main thing we're going to be watching. Silver and gold. Everybody always asks about the silver and gold. Folks, we are out of the gold market right now. We have traded it quite nicely since the bottom at 1673. Took about 72 handles out of it. We're out of it at 1730. We're trading around 1736, 37 right now. And our goal is this week is if we can get the gold to come down to around the 1708 to 1705 level, we will be there waiting with a little basket, with the bottom of the basket covered with a stop, of course, and looking to be a buyer at that point. There's some numbers that are coming in at that time that make it look really interesting. And the silver has gotten beaten up somewhat, but it's come back a little bit now. But it needs to get substantially, the silver has to substantially get above the 26.90 per barrel. Danny's asking, where would you put a stop on TLT? TLT is an ETF, Danny, and it trades at a relatively small amount. So what I would do is just take 3% of the value of what the TLT is at any particular time, or take 3% of your equity. Let's say that you have a $5,000 account and you want to take 3% of that. That would be $150. You can put $150. Let's go to $200 on that just to make it 4%. But that would be the most I would risk on that would be 4%. Because, you can be wrong a lot of times at 4%. But if you risk 25%, you can only be wrong 3 times because they're not going to let you trade with no money. So that's the main thing. It's how much you risk, not how much you're going to make, because that's the whole secret of what we're doing here. And whether that works or not, who knows, but that's what we're trying to do. I mentioned we will have Stan Harley as our guest on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Boy, that's really good mathematics. Boy, they really taught you a lot of good stuff there in Indiana before you were in the 5th grade, those 4 years. And then on Friday, we will have Norm Winsky. And I'm trying to get one other guest that we haven't had on for a while on Wednesday, but it's a little, I have to do some calling and some emailing in order to get him lined up. All right. What? Oh, someone's asking a question about the natural gas. I don't know if that's a major bottom in natural gas, folks. All I know is it was a perfect 78% retracement to the tick, and that's what we have to. That's what our goal is to find these that land on these numbers, and we know that if it's right, it's not going to go below that number. So that's the whole key, to what we're trying to do here. Like Apple, we didn't know that 120 was going to very, very close to 120. Mr. Z said he was in the fifth grade for 4 years. Well, I went to St. Benedict's Catholic School. I was trained by the Jesuits for 12 years, and believe it or not, folks, I almost went to the seminary when I got out of the 8th grade before I went into high school, and my mother wanted me to be a priest, and boy, oh boy, did she ever have that one wrong. Anyway, 877-927-6648. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den trading room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Chart allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, I've been asked to take a look at the crude oil contract here. We'll just bring this up a little bit here. A lot of you folks are asking me questions about my childhood there in Terre Haute, Indiana. I went to St. Benedict's from the first grade to the eighth, and I went to Bishop Schulte High School for 4 years and graduated. I was 175 people in the class, and believe it or not, folks, I was 161. I know I'm embarrassed to tell you that, but the story, well, you don't want to hear that stuff. Anyway, here's the crude oil. This is a 4-hour chart. You can see that the 3 drive to a top pattern we were looking for, the 1.618 came in at 66.60. It gapped up to 68.20 on Sunday night. And then once it filled that gap, there was no prisoners to be found. It broke down. Then it gave you one great chance at the 618, 65.70. We came down, and you'll notice the number that we hit here on Friday. Well, at 58.60 that's 2 standard deviations down, folks. You know, we watched that because 1 standard deviation is danger, 2 standard deviation is really danger, and that's why this market held. But you'll notice the ABCD pattern there, measuring to 61.98, and the 382 came in at 61.04, and the high today was 61.04, and now we're trading about $800 lower. So if you're following those kind of things and those make you happy, that's what patterns are all about, folks. They do predict, but they predict within limits. You can only expect them to do a little bit. The main thing is they are there for risk control, because when they go beyond these patterns and ratios, you don't really know where they're going to go, and boy, you just got to get out of the way. I'll tell you, there's no other way to do it. Oh, by the way, I did get a phone call over the weekend, a very unexpected one, from one of the guys who was a broker, or not a broker, he was one of the customers in the Drexel Burnham office there when we were working there in Southern California. And he said, I hear you on TFNN once in a while. He said, I don't listen to it too often, but when I do, I always think of you. And he said, the thing I remember is when Jack Palance would come in and he would do one-handed push-ups, and he was in his late 60s at that time. And he was in incredible health and one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. He would pass out his photos with his autograph on it. But he said, I wanted to thank you for that, and also for getting me to buy a few Cougar ends. And he said, I still have them. So anyway, that was a really nice trip down memory lane. He's 91 now and still sharp as a tack. Okay, let's move on to a couple others that look interesting here from a perspective. And this is this euro, folks. I wanted to bring this to your attention here because this is a 4-hour chart, and I think we're getting ready to get a little bit of a bump here in the euro. I don't know where we are this morning here, but we had this move right here. We should have backed down, which we did. We've come down pretty good Sunday night, but then we've reversed, and we've gotten back up here pretty good. So it's going to be interesting whether this holds or not, because with the Treasury bonds out there, the way we have them, I mean, my gosh, folks, they got to get this money somewhere. I know they can just print the paper. I know that. But even when they're printing paper, people are not stupid. I mean, most people did not believe the fact that we were going to negative interest rates here in this country. Sure, they can do it in these faraway places like Zimbabwe and other places like that. You know, Egypt, well, not Egypt. I love Egypt. But anyway, that you literally, if you're going to print something, you're going to take something away from it. Because if you know, let me tell you my most famous story about this, okay? 1976, I'm trading soybeans and soybean oils out there, and I'm just finishing up, and I go to work for Drexel Burnham Lambert, and one of my customers, one of the people that I bought some oil and beans for, wanted to put some money in the 25% Treasury bonds of Tijuana, Mexico. All you had to do was open an account, and you got 25% on your money. And I told him, I said, you cannot be that naive. And I said, why? He said, all they'll do is they'll go from 10 to 1 to 5 to 1, and then you only got half your money, and only you're making 12%, and then they'll go to half again, then you'll be 6%. Well, they went further than that. They cut it by 2/3 in one day. He lost 2/3 of his money. The smart part of it was he was going to put $50,000 into it. I got him to only put in $5,000, so he only lost $3,800. And he ended up, believe it or not, he held that all the way down to $380 is what he held it to. So when you make the first mistake, it teaches. When you make your second mistake, it kills. One of the questions they're asking here then is about Reddit. Read it. These guys, folks, they're still in business. They have all the reason in the world to be in business, and they should be there. Whether anything they can use to try to beat the market is certainly, you should be able to use anything, whether it's a moving average, stochastic, whatever you want to do. If you can get in there and take your risk, you have the right to make money. I don't care whether it's Bitcoin or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a bubble or not. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is it's another way of trading, and that's, what we're paying attention to. So I hope that helps. It's nothing more than that, nothing less. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. If you have any questions, unfortunately, you can't get through right now, folks. Al said all the lines are busy. It's 877-927-6648 if you do have a question. We are going to have Thursday, I believe, we're going to have Rich Anderson on the line because we're having more. Oh, Al just told us a line just popped up. Oh, my goodness. Oh, hopefully we'll be able to get him before the break, and we'll be able to answer a question if we can. If not, we'll give them some information that maybe they can use to buy a lottery ticket. Sometimes that even works. Okay. All right. Oh, someone asked me, what is one of the most important books that I ever read on investing? And folks, it's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, because it's all about your mental state and that 9-inch cycle from year to year. That is one of the best ones. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, H.M. Gartley, Profits in the Stock Market, and of course all of my 13 books. No, not really, but the real great books. And another book that's really great, if you got somebody that's having trouble now with sickness or anything, there's a book by Lillian Watson called Light from Many Lamps by Lillian Watson. You can get it on Amazon. Fabulous book. It's got all the stories of the trials and tribulations that these famous people had to go through, Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, and how they coped with it. And I've got 2 chapters in there myself. Anyway, that was a great book. I enjoyed that very, very much. I still have it, and it's a fabulous book for people that think you can't go on, but you really can. You won't believe some of the things that some of these people had to endure, and we all go through those things. I mean, I've been lucky, but anyway, those are some of the books that I have. I've got so many books, I don't know which ones are the most or which ones aren't, but who knows. Let's move on here to the next one here. All righty, let's go on here to one other question, and that is about the old Japanese yen here. We want to get this up because we haven't moved yet in this.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Okay, folks, we got a good question from someone, and that is, what do I do when I have a string of losses? First thing I do is I try to find somebody else to blame for it. And when that doesn't work, I resort to something that has always worked for me, and that is I wait for my most favorite pattern of all. And that's even more than the Gartley pattern. I know I love the Gartley pattern. I've relatively made it famous, but the one that I love the most, and I've shown it twice on here, but this is the one that gets you out of the fire and into the frying pan, and that is a 3-drive pattern. There's one in the crude oil, there's one in the Treasury Bonds. That's the one I look at. We've seen one in stocks the last few weeks. We're rallying today, but that doesn't mean that pattern hasn't ended, because it's certainly got all the stuff there that tells us that that's what it should be doing. So let's pay attention to that, because it's an interesting thing to remind ourselves of. But you have to have a what do you call one of those clubs that the golfers use, a special club that gets him out of really bad situations. Well, for me, it's the 3-drive pattern. And the reason why, folks, let me get up my words together here. The 3-drive pattern has 3 things for us, okay? It gives you 5 different numbers up there, because you got drive 1, 2, and 3 on the top, or 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. You got the expansions of all those numbers. You got the ABCDs of all those numbers. Okay, so you've got a whole bunch of numbers that say this is it. This is where the party plays. Now, does that mean you're going to lose or win? I mean, no. Look at the hogs. Here was a perfect one in hogs. Let's get it up here. Just get up here and take a look at it, because this is the one that didn't work. And let's get it up here. There's the 3-drive. Now, the difference is this had a really long extended range between the BC swing or CD leg, which was a little troublesome, but that had a 3-drive pattern. It was not perfect, but it was a good one, and it didn't work. And so all I do now is we've come down about a penny and a half in the hogs. So what I'll do now is I'll wait a day or two to see if the hogs will back off a little more. And then I'll start to look at the hogs on a 30-minute chart, and the 30-minute chart's going to give me a nice little Gartley pattern, and then there I go with a Gartley pattern, and that's what I'm looking to do there. That's what I'm doing. Nothing more than that. All right, let's talk a little bit about valuations. We've had several questions, well, one question anyway, about valuations. Here's one that really, this came from the Proctor voice, Elliott Wave. You'll notice here the end of the dot-com era, the NASDAQ, the S&P volume. Look at the volume of the NASDAQ versus the S&P. You talk about the boys from Reddit and all these other places, the tech bubble stuff. Look at that. That is an unbelievable. That makes Bitcoin look like a bear market, folks. That's the thing that's going to be the big problem if we ever do have a problem in this market. I don't know, but that's a very, very troublesome chart. Just because it was overbought. Of course, now it's been corrected quite a bit because the NASDAQ came down, well over 10%. Well, the market was still topping. So, that's it. So we'll see how we're going to do that. Yes, the S&P is still going. The NASDAQ has the NASDAQ. That is volume, and it is it's not valuation, Bo. It is volume, but it's related to that because if people think it's value, they buy it. That's the main thing that we have to it. Remember, there's a few other things that are out there that show euphoria too, and that this is another one doing the same thing. Let me get this one up here. This also comes from the U.S. Equity Research. Let's get this up here. You'll be able to see the same type of thing that shows where these valuations have gone between euphoria and panic. That's not nearly as dramatic as the other one, but it's still there. And I'll do one other one because I'll do two because I think they're important. This one's really important from my perspective because I'd be like Bernstein and Woodward, and that is follow the money, and that is what we've had here with the margin on these things right here. Remember, that's what they did with Reddit, is they gave them a $3 billion margin call thinking they wouldn't be able to cover it, and they did. So that's telling it those boys over there at Reddit are for good. That's we'll see if that's going to be the case. Now, I wanted to share there. People are talking here about the NASDAQ being up, bonds being up. I don't necessarily mean that. Folks, here's the kind of stuff that you get on the internet that really is very, very troublesome. And this is a chart. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with this chart at all. I am just saying that the relationship between gold and bonds, you see that between August and March. Okay, that's 7 months, folks. All right? You got to have a lot of samples, more than 7, to make sure that this thing works. Because if you look long term, there's very little correlation between gold and bonds. Yes, in this particular instance it is, but I don't think it's tradable. In fact, from pattern recognition swing trading standpoint, it is flat not tradable. Well, if you want to control risk, you might as well throw this one out the window because, that's a spread, and we know what a spread is. It's a stick with, what on both ends. So those are some of the things. Also, I've also mentioned the fact that we could be getting ready for a really nice bottom in some of these grains here. So we're paying a close attention to that this week. And maybe we'll get a nice little sell-off. Yep, Melody, you came very close to the magical word. That's correct. All right, let's move on here to one other mention that I wanted to have here, and that is the valuations on stocks comparing to where we were in the dot-com era. And remember, these are just comparisons, folks. They don't mean anything. They're not tradable, but you are able to see that they move in cycles. And as you can see here in 2000, we had a big move. Now, remember in 2000, the Dow Jones topped in January of 2000, and the NASDAQ topped on March 24th. Of 2000. I was in San Francisco at the Money Show, and boy, that was a crazy one. People were walking through the aisles with their statements showing how much money they had made, and oh my goodness, you could see that disaster getting ready to happen. And it happened the next morning, folks. On Monday morning is when that market started down, and it didn't look back till it gave back 85% of its value. Now the $65,000 question is, will it give any of it back this year? Well, we gave 10% back, but that's not very much when the market moves as much as that one has done. So let's remind ourselves that what goes up can come down, and sometimes it comes down faster than when it goes up. There's a question about cryptocurrencies, folks. I know so little about it. I don't like to even mention it. I don't know how to describe it. All I know is it's a phenomenon that I'm happy I'm able to live through it, have not profited from it other than just a tiny little bit. Other than those 10,000 Bitcoins I bought at 48 cents about 12 years ago. I still got a few of them. No, I didn't do any of that. I mean, that's not what this old cowboy's about, folks. I'm a merchant. I like to come in here and make money a little bit every day and just have a lot of fun doing it and meeting a lot of nice people. And, God, I've been lucky doing it. I ain't going to change. I'll tell you, they're going to have a hard time getting me to look at a stochastic again. But this is a fun business, but you've got to be able to, be able to do it. We'll be right back about Google, folks.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi, folks. This is Steve Rhodes. Stay tuned for another great hour of The Trader's Edge, heard here at TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. One of the questions someone has asked us over the break is, when will I yell uncle here in the stock market? And that is if the Dow Jones sees 33,000, if we see above 39.75 in the S&P. We're at 39.34 right now. And if the NASDAQ goes above the 78% level, which is still quite a far way away. There's a 3-drive pattern there, the long-term daily that we posted here this morning, and I think that's tells the story, whether you believe it or not. We're seeing it in others, the DAX, we're seeing it in the FTSE, we're seeing it in other things, the Hang Seng Index, of course, in Hong Kong. And, of course, the news over there has been very, very bullish with the IPOs that are coming out. And so those are some of the things that we're watching. Regarding the gold market, I mentioned that we were out of the gold market right now. We're trading at 1738. We missed that last $800, but this market's been really good to us. We're waiting to buy it on a pullback, and that pullback will come sometime this week, and I think we'll be ready for it when we get several patterns, to line up and fit together. And that's primarily what our job here is, to pick the spots where we can risk very, very little and try to make a couple of bucks. Lose a few, make a few. But if you win more than you lose and you make more than you win, you're going to be very, very successful. And that's what the goal is. And that's what we try to do here at TFNN. We're fortunate that we have some really smart people in here, folks. All of the speakers, of course, Basil, Steve Rhodes, David White, Tommy, all of them, they're all in there. I know I've missed somebody. I don't know who it is. Probably the guys at Thinkorswim that give us great option stuff. And, of course, Mr. Z is in there giving us some wonderful things that have just been spectacular. That's another thing, is copper is not acting that bullish, folks. Dr. Copper is out of the office now, so we'll pay attention. I think we got one final caller in the line. Oh, the line just went. And David White, the smartest guy on town. 877-927-6640.